mail us a check.
Mm-hmm.
And then we figured out it was worth the money to have a FedEx guy go there with the materials that we gave the FedEx guy, get a signature, get a check, and bring it back, FedEx it back to us.
Mm-hmm.
So that 20 something dollars that we were paying at the time, okay, FedEx it's probably 10 times more than that now, but that increased the final close rate easily by 40%, which is make or break.
Right.
In terms of getting your money. It's those things like that, like how do you tighten up the yes and getting the money? And there's way more easy ways to do that now, but it's so important. The yes fades. Your show is about, saying yes. You get somebody else to say yes. You gotta act. You gotta turn that into a customer, a signed paying customer.
Yeah.
Or it disappears.
Listening to you, I heard 6 major lessons in all of that. The first one I heard you talk about, about using your working capital, right? Getting them to sign up front and then sign it, in the middle and then sign the end. And, as a listener, you might think, how do I get them to do that? But what I suspect is that you are also offering value for those signatures, value for those commitments up front and in the back end, because you said it, your first day you received 50 phone calls. You knew that the system worked. And I think when we understand our own value, it's much easier to ask for the yes, the signature, right, and ask for the money, but you're also having to give that value in it. And it sounds like you already had the value when you went to market. It was just convincing everybody else that you had the value they needed.
Yeah, we knew that the long-term value of a dental patient to a practice was thousands of dollars. I mean, we talk about it with them all the time now. It is the lifetime value of a dental patient to a practice is easily $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were to pay $500 to acquire that client, you would say, I'll take 1 million of those, basically, because that's a heck of a transaction. And so they didn't always understand this, but we knew it. We knew that if I handed them 10 patients and they converted 5 of them, they were 5Xing what they paid me on the basic transaction. Never mind the referrals from the referrals and all of that stuff that happens. Eventually, I explain that in my books. But when you're selling something that even the client doesn't understand how valuable it is, you get really comfortable saying, this is what it costs.
Yeah, sure. The other thing you talked about brings me to a movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. You talk about your sales pitch. You're in a small environment, and your partner's really good. He's got his script, and he's fine-tuning it. He's listening to everybody. It's one of the things that I often advise my consulting clients on that are in sales, like, hey, sit in on those calls. Understand what's being said by your sales reps. Make sure they're in tune and aligned with your core values and your beliefs and all those other things, because that's what's going to make the difference in your business, that they're able to convey that message. And, you find in life, we bore really easily or quickly of these things. You might give that pitch for 2 weeks and it's like, I got to switch it up a little bit. It's not working. The reality is these things work over time. And I think people are a little too impatient for that. So kudos to your success for having a consistent message over a long period of time.
And you're absolutely right. You have to dial it back in. If there's one thing that's true about salespeople is they will drift in the pitch. They will say something different, and somehow some customer responds to that, and it's a total quirk and it's a one-off. And then they will use it forever, and it fails from then on. And then you start to listen to their calls and you go, when the hell did you start saying this? This doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, no, you remember so-and-so, he bought. It's like, yeah. and nobody else is, go back to the pitch, right? Go, get back in the middle lane here. Stop taking side roads because you're not finding customers there.
Yeah.
And as you say, it gets a little boring, but hey, there's nothing more satisfying than closing as many clients as possible and knowing that you're helping them, giving them something of value. When you talk them into something that they benefit from, you're a good person. You're a good, at heart, a good salesperson, because a lot of times they don't understand the value, and you moved them all the way from not interested to sign me up.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to be able to do when they benefit.
Yeah, to all you Southwesterner listeners, if this concept's foreign to you, look at In-N-Out Burger, okay? They've been doing the same thing since 1948. Hamburger, fry, drink. Effortlessly, flawlessly for all those years. One of the most successful restaurant chains. By the way, Fred, I've worked there for 13 years, so I've got some insight on it. But I bored of it when I was working there because I was like, I can do more than this. But you know what? It doesn't change the formula and the fact that it works and it brings customers in. Matter of fact, it brings so many customers in. That's people's number one complaint is the lines are too long. So I love when you talk about consistency and doing it over and over again because it works.
Yeah, look at lines. There isn't a line at McDonald's like there is at In-N-Out and like there is at Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
I mean, especially during COVID, because no other restaurants let them in. So you're waiting for an hour to eat a meal in 5 minutes. Yeah, but I want the In-N-Out. Yeah. I want the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
they know what they're getting.
Matt.
And that consistency is huge. You don't have to reinvent what's working just because you're bored.
Yeah, Matt, imagine that. 2 value-based companies crushing it during the pandemic. Hey, talk to me about your book, Super Bold. Let's wrap it up with the book. It says Super Bold, from underconfident to charismatic in 90 days.
So one of the things that I learned in life from growing up as a very shy, introverted, underconfident person is that hesitation was the opportunity killer, and it was killing all sorts of opportunities for me in work, in jobs, in relationships, in fun. Mm-hmm. And I watched bold people and I thought, are they born like this? Why are they like this? But I started to emulate them and basically just pushed myself into my discomfort zone over and over and over again. And over decades, just became the kind of person I have spoken on stage to 5,000 people. I can meet anybody. I've played chess with Richard Branson. I mean, I've been on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader and blew $250,000 on the last question. I mean, I'll do anything. I'll try anything. I bungee jumped in New Zealand from 450 feet. Not that boldness is all about crazy stuff. It's about summoning your confidence to act in situations that matter, which means you got to build that muscle ahead of time. And that's what the book is about. It's a series of exercises that take you from wherever you are on the boldness or confidence spectrum to a much higher level. And then you're going to work on it the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And it's a systematic way that I developed to do it that is very accelerated. Instead of taking decades, it takes months. And then you have a format for doing it. And it just grows. Your confidence and boldness grows all the way down to creating neural pathways that are completely different until your default mode is to act boldly instead of hesitating or shy, and missing good stuff, missing great stuff, missing important stuff. There's times when you need to speak up. There's times when you need to stand up for somebody. There's times when you need to find a way to talk to this person. You're in a room. I'm constantly in a room with people way more successful than me. And I'll talk to anybody because they're all just human beings. So this is a life skill. And I talk a lot about communication skills and the mindset of boldness as well, as that leads you into doing the exercises. But it's really about finding a way to move into your discomfort zone and get stronger and stronger and stronger so that you've got it to call on it when you need. And I say you become charismatic because charisma is just you're radiating confidence wherever you are. The mantra that bold people have, they don't even say it to themselves, but this is how they behave. This is the mantra I teach is, I belong everywhere. And that's incredibly powerful. So many people they're deciding they're not worthy of that person or that situation or that opportunity or whatever. And they stop themselves. Bold people never stop themselves. They never say, I'm unworthy.
Yeah.
Because you are. If you decide you are, you are. And if you decide you belong somewhere, you belong somewhere.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You know, we're all human beings. We all bring something to the table. It's just a matter of us understanding that or not. I'm going to close with a quote that you posted up on your Instagram. It says, we often fear what we want to do most, but are afraid of failing. This year, do something you're afraid of. I love that. You know, it's 2022. Let's be bold. Let's go out and do something. Get this book. I love that mentality. I wish I could spend more people around more time with people like that. You know, I walk in the room and I feel confident and bold, and then I look around like, where's all my bold friends at? Let's go. You know, let's go bungee jump or something. So, Fred, thank you so much for your time and your message and your book that you put out there. I'm glad I didn't know you earlier in life. We might be down in a ravine or something, suffering from our ailments.
Yeah, a lot more broken bones, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll put your website on our show notes, and I want to thank you for being live on the air today.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.